time once again for the Real People Multi-Game Solitaire Mega Tournament. This game we are about to play, that we are about to embark on together, has been a long time coming. It's actually a combination between three games that are they're sort of compatible. They were designed to be compatible. I would submit that they're not entirely as compatible as one might like, especially Helden and Der Unterwelt from the other two. The other two, Return of the Heroes and Under the Shadow of the Dragon, seem more meant to be together, I would say. However, I'm going to be posting these on Board Game Geek under the Shadow of the Dragon, just because that game I don't think has any videos yet. I know I did videos for the other two games. I didn't do one for that game because it's very similar to Return of the Heroes. So a lot has happened leading up to this game, more than any other game so far. This one has more history. The people involved have more history. Take you back, it began with Middle-earth Quest, where we had 4 players. Yep, and we're going to have 8 in this. Compete. Sauron ended up winning. The Sauron player, who is right here, Curly, he ended up winning, so he's going to have an advantage in this game, as is the winner of In the Shadow of the Emperor. The winner of that half pint, she's also going to have an advantage. I don't think you can see her back here. I have the characters behind me. She is going to be the dragon's champion. So there's the Shadow of the Emperor, the Shadow of the Dragon. She's the dragon shadow to some extent. And the Sauron player is going to be the Nameless's champion, who's one of the bad guys or the main bad guy in Return of the Heroes. And there's lots of different things the Nameless could be, and that won't be revealed until someone battles the Nameless. So that was the start of it. There was those two games. There was a tie for last place in Middle-earth Quest. And so the two people who tied are Red Tomato and Mooney here. They just played, not too long ago, a game of Duel of Ages to see who would be the last place. Mooney, well, I guess I can say Mooney lost that. So he is going to begin the game in the Underworld, along with Weeder, who had last place in the Shadow of the Dragon. Now, there's basically 4 different tiers of players here, and I'll talk about the difference in a second when I guess when I take the camera and I can show you everything. There's a lot of different parts to this largely combined game, but I just wanted to point out these games are supposed to be combined. I had to make some fudgings of the rules. I don't know if fudgings. I changed the rules a little bit to kind of work with the asymmetrical starting positions, and there's going to be a different goal and everything, and I'll talk about that as we go on. So we have our 8 contestants here, and they are positioned in playing order. It's going to be this kind of zigzag here, and they're also set up in tiers, where the tiers were, there's 4 tiers of 2, and I rolled to see who would go first among the tiers. So at the top here, we have Half Pint, who won in the Shadow of the Dragon, and Curly here, who was the Sauron player in Middle-earth Quest. And they start out with more cubes, as you can see, and they also start out with one of the 3 favors they need to win. Curly here, he's going to start out with the Nameless's favor. Half Pint is going to start out with the Dragon's favor. If any player gets 2 of the 3 favors, the final one's the Nameless's favor, or not, the Verdamp's favor, sorry, Der Verdamp's favor. If anyone gets 3 of the big bad guy's favors, they win. And the favor can either be you're their champion, which is what these 2 begin the game as, or you can defeat them. So they're going to be trying to protect their own guy. And there are some rules where they can steal certain items from other players, which they normally in the rules you can't do that. That can be used against the Nameless and the Dragon, respectively. They're allowed to steal those items, and they also get certain other privileges for being the champion. So they should have, and I can't say if this is going to be the case or not, because they should have the potential to lose as well. But they should have an advantage over the other players. I want them to start in a stronger position. The next tier here, this is kind of the upper middle class of the group. We have, what's her name? It's Scoots. Yes, it's been so long since I've played with Scoots. And then we have Fries here, who, this is the third game I've played with Fries on camera. I can't remember if I played any off camera or not. But they start out with 3 cubes, and that's basically what they get. I bet you want to know what they are, too. So I should go back up. Curly here, he's going to be the gladiator. And Con for 1 LP, Eine Kampfprobe Wiederholen. I'm going to have to check, but I believe, if I remember correctly, what that means is that he can spend a life point. I want to say LP is probably life point. Or maybe it's an experience cube. He can spend something in order to take another shot at a monster or some fight he was just in. And then Half Pint here, she is a halfling. This sexy, sexy halfling. She can evade combat, and she starts out with being able to use more dice. The different stats have cubes and dice to define them, or cubes and numbers. Basically, cubes will determine how many dice you get to roll, and the number is what you have to roll equal to or under. So the higher the number, the better. The more cubes you have, the better. They work with probability in different ways. Fries is a dwarf, right there, and he starts off in the mountains. There's his little house. There's Fries, and then Scoots, she's the kind of haughty wizard, and she starts off in this little house. I don't know if you can see the house, she's behind it, but her house is right next. Her neighbor has a telescope, so she put her house there so she could use the telescope and look up at the magical city up there and kind of check out what they're up to. And she starts out with a magical spell, Lightning, and Lightning is going to, I think, going to play a large role in her strategy if it works. Problem is, if her lightning spell ever fails, she loses it. But basically lets her, normally when they in a fight, they have to choose, they can only use certain colors depending on the monster. Only certain attacks will affect them. As long as she has her lightning spell, she can always use blue. So if she just focuses on her blue and never fails, she'll be fine. But if she loses it, then she's not in such a good place. Tice here, she's our Centaur, and she's in the kind of middle or lower class. They're basically the same as this tier here, except they only get 1 cube instead of 3. Tice, she's over there in the woods, kind of near the darker area of our makeshift map. And then Red Tomato, he's the Gnomon, and what he does is he combines, in any contest, he can combine any 2 of his stats. I'm not sure if they both have to be admissible or not. See, the rules for him, and this is one reason I don't think Helden in der Unterwelt really combines well with the other 2 games. It doesn't specify how you interpret his ability in the overworld. It really only specifies how you interpret it using against gray monsters. So I'm going to have to make a call on it. So what I don't know is when he combines his 2 numbers, if both of those abilities have to be marked on the monster or not. My inclination is probably yes, but that's going to hinder him quite a bit. Some of the class/races in the Unterwelt don't really translate well into the overworld. So then finally we have our bottom tier here, and these guys kind of get the shaft, but then they are losers, so they deserve it. Mooney is an elf again. He's back with Aqualad, but he's kind of a shadow of Aqualad. He's an Aqualad of the damned. And then Weeder here, this is kind of how I imagine her insides. So she's this orc, and they start off in the Unterwelt here. This kind of Elysian. I don't know if you can see that. And she's in this pale flower place, and that's underneath the table. They have some special rules. One thing with them is if they die, they're dead. The other people, if they die, one of their descendants will come and take up the fight for them. It's a big setback still, but especially as they get further. But these people, when they die, they're dead. Anyone can attack them. They can't attack anyone else unless they're in the underworld. And there's some other I think restrictions maybe. In terms of other people attacking each other, the middle class folk can't attack each other unless, you know, they have shadow cubes and they're in the underworld. There's rules for that. I think anyone can attack the champions. I'd have to check. I made a blog post on it. I'm kind of going by that and making a few little alterations. So that's sort of an overview of what we're looking at. To defeat the big bad guys, for those of you who don't know, especially in the overworld, you have to find certain items and get this kind of recipe put together before you're able to face them. So that's kind of what the middle class people are going to be doing. The underworld people are stuck in the underworld until they find the way out. Then they're going to have to make a decision whether they try to defeat Der Verdammt or head upwards and see if they can find some good stuff up there. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. This could take a while, which is kind of good after the short game I just played. Alright, we're going to begin with Half Pint here. She's going to go to this marker and just see what it is. It is a quest to search for the hidden ravine. That's in C5. So C5 is down here. It's not really where she wants to be going right now. She's kind of got two goals. She would like to be the one to take out the Nameless, because then she would win. And she'd also like to protect herself. So that means she's got to be on the lookout for markers that can be used in making the anti-dragon magic weapon. Another thing about this one is it gives her red. Red wouldn't be bad to get. She might just pick it up just for fun. And maybe she happens to be over there. She will. It's not like she's losing a lot of movement anyway. So how the game works, a counter is removed from the board. We got to put a new one out. So we're just going to see what comes out of the bag here. And it's these guys. I don't think these guys can... Yeah, they're part of some quest or other. And that's an L7. L7, they're going to hang out right here. No one can really interact with them unless they have the particular quest or recipe in order to do so. So now it's going to go over to Curly. Curly, as you can see, is in the Nameless's kind of castle here. His main privilege is that there's going to... See these guards here? There's going to be more of them out here called servants. They're supposedly weaker than these guards. He can just walk right past them. No one else can. They're all going to have to stop and fight. So he has to decide where he wants to go. Let's see. He would love to mess with Tice if he could. Tice is pretty tough though. He thinks he can take her still. So he's going to head that way. And just so you know, I checked. And the middle class folk, they can attack anybody who's not middle class. Alright, and there's a golem here. So he's going to have to fight that golem. He's got red and green that he fights with. Golem can take red. So he'll go with that. He's going to get 3 dice, but he's going to get -2 off his number. So he has to get a 4 or less on one of those dice, or he is going to lose a hit point. And that's a good start for Curly. He has defeated the golem. So the golem is going to give him either a red or a blue. He's going to take a red cube there, and that makes him stronger. And then something else is going to have to come out of the bag. This time we got another one of these guys. I believe this might... Oh, this might be a starting quest one. I'm not sure. And it's at K6. K6, ooh, it's right in the secret spot. And I'll have to see if that's a starting quest one. That's public information. If so, Red Tomato is well situated to get that. And then our golem's going to go back in the bag. Alright, so both the frog and this guy are starting quest starters. However, the quest has to be gotten from the castle first. The quests to beat the Nameless are gotten from the castle, and the other ones for the dragon, you just kind of have to run across them. From the mountains comes Fries. What he's gonna do, he's not gonna go towards the castle to try to get a quest right away or even look around. He's looking at the board like he has immediate access to this area down here. No one else does. If he can pick off whatever's down here, he can buff himself up and be ready to take on whatever challenges remain. He found a teleporter. So now he has to decide whether or not he wants to use the teleporter. And You know, it's like, why would you not want to use a teleporter? Or he could just keep going. So what's his movement? His movement is 2, so he might as well use the teleporter. He's not going to get anywhere this turn anyway. He got a 1, so he gets his choice. And I'll have to see how far he can go with that. It's been a while since I've played this game. Alright, so Fries can go to the tan field of his choice. He could use this to jump to the castle, but he's actually going to use it to buff him, to see what's under here. Escort the merchant to Zenda. He'll go ahead and take that and put it in his quest. That would help his archery, which isn't bad for Fries. It's good to be proficient in a couple different things. Fries, as you can see, just focused on his fighting, however, his melee combat. See what else comes on the map. We have an F3, and this is, oh, candles, nice. You can buy these candles, I think, but I think it's part of a quest. You have to have the quest first to buy those candles. Scoot's first turn of the game, she has a choice. She debated using her special power to more easily find these secret paths to go this way. There's really no reason to do that other than to use her special power. I guess it could take her towards the temple in case she gets hurt, which isn't bad for her because she's one of those that is very frail. She only has 2 life, but she's gonna go here instead, figuring, you know, if it doesn't work out, she can always go back home and rest a turn. So, ooh, find Don Hobiro. This is a good one for range combat. That's not really something that helps her too much, but it can't hurt, especially if her lightning spell goes away. Next up out of the bag, and I'm not going to be doing this all the time, V9 the Dragon. Oh, that should actually have already been out. Whoops, forgot to get that out. All right, let's see what else. This is first turn. I'm gonna take you through the play-by-play a little more. We have the Ranger here. We can go on to Tice now. Tice has a choice to make. She sees this big bad gladiator named Curly coming towards her. She's not super scared of him, but does she want to tangle with him? Is there anything she can get out of it? She could get a coin if she dueled him. I think she wants to just go here and not sweat him, even though she could gallop away. Well, I don't know. He does have a pretty good advantage on her. I think she'll go down to this way. Stop here, see what's under this tile. So she could either pick this up and have her turn end or keep moving. One of her advantages is she moves rather fast. She can move 5 spaces. Climb the White Mountain, and that would help her red. The White Mountain is where? X5, so that's way over there. I think she might leave it for now. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4. She's going to go here and get the first quest of the game. Here, there you can see her. Dun, 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 dun. And drawn randomly from the stack, she was given the quest by the king, Juan's Relic. That's good and bad for her. And I think I did sort of a test game of this in November to see, you know, if the rules changes I made would even be workable. And I think she had a similar situation where she had to do a bunch of quests that involve money. She's one of the few characters that starts the game with no money. However, the candle is out already, so she has a choice to make next turn. I think she's done for the turn. She could turn in her quest for a different one, maybe one that didn't require money, but it might just be wasting time. She's got the advantage that the quest is out there. She has movement, and that's great for her. Curly's got to be having mixed feelings right now. She's not the one you want to be going after your guy because she's fast, and she's pretty competent too. And that brings us down to the underworld. You know, right now they're not going to have a whole lot of choice, but they do. And the main choice they have to make is whether they're going to go towards each other or away from each other. Weeder, her name is, yeah. Weeder is going to draw this tile, and she's going actually towards Mooney. And I think I have to draw one of these. See what's on there. Oh, okay, so here we got one of these guys. That is not good. So here we have another case where I don't think the the game Helden in der Unterwelt is quite so compatible with the others. I'm not sure how to interpret the Orc's special ability. It was written before Helden in der Unterwelt, so I don't know its ability to exchange 1 ECs for gold pieces, if that should apply to shadow cubes or not. I'm going to decide that it doesn't, even though I kind of like that idea, just because I think it would sort of, it would alter the shadow cubes a bit too much. So I'm just going to read it literally. She can only exchange 1 EC. So she's got to get under 4 on these 2 dice, the sum of them, in order to beat the Avatar de Verdampton. If she doesn't, it's not the end of the world. She gets a shadow cube, she could put it on something and improve that something. However, she won't be able to improve it further with experience cubes. Also, if she gets the shadow cube, she gets to do this sort of curse dance that affects the overworld. So here we go. She got a 10. 10 is much larger than 4. So that guy's going to stay there. She gets a shadow cube, and she'll have to decide where to put it. I think she's going to put it right there. And then she's going to... Actually, she might be more direct than that. I think she'll put it right there. Let's see. What do you think? Yeah, I could just kick their butt. Yeah. Alright, so she can put this anywhere she wants. Who does she despise? Let's take a look at her history. She's probably not too fond of Half Pint. Really, yeah, she's going to mess with Half Pint. And looks like Half Pint's going this way, so she's going to put this counter here. Anytime a shadow cube's placed, this -1 counter can go on a particular place, and that means any test there is going to get a -1. Before I go on to Mooney's turn, Mooney's Aqualad, I wanted to clarify. Normally, you put these -1 tokens on there whenever a shadow cube's placed at all. I'm having it be that the characters themselves get to place it whenever a shadow cube is placed on them. Instead, I just think that works better for what we have going. So what she does is, if you succeed in beating her at magic -2, she gives you the golden staff, which is one of the special weapons here. Goldener stab. So he's got to get a 2 on 2 dice. Basically roll snake eyes, and he's got to beat. And you got 2 5s. That's the second time I've rolled 2 5s. Oh, I hear my son. Apparently I'm keeping both my son and my wife awake right now, so I'm going to be done right now. And I think we got a good start. We got a kind of an overview of what we're doing, and a first turn. So we've laid sort of the beginnings of the structure of what could be quite a fun game. I'm excited to see how all these little elements come together to form a grander tale.